ActBlue is on our radar. We've been doing investigations already, but now we have a federal lawsuit about it. So Judicial Watch filed an important new FOIA lawsuit over what is I consider a low-grade fever type of scandal for the left, which is ActBlue, which is a key fundraising platform for left-leaning organizations and political campaigns. You know, you may go to many left-leaning groups. You can just go and click their contribute buttons. They often get pushed through ActBlue, which acts as a platform for contributions, both charitable contributions and political contributions. And there's been a lot of concerns about the potential corruption at ActBlue in terms of managing these contributions. And so Judicial Watch knows the FEC is supposedly looking at this, and we asked for records about it, and we got the proverbial hand to the face. So we filed a lawsuit. We filed the lawsuit against the FEC for, quote, records related to alleged fraudulent donor activities by the Democratic fundraising program ActBlue. Judicial Watch filed the lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia after the FEC failed to respond to our FOIA law request back in December for records including reports, audits, or investigations of ActBlue's donor verification processes, donor irregularities, or potential donor fraud. Communications between the FEC's Office of Compliance and any state attorney general's office and the U.S. Department or the U.S. Department of Justice about any of these alleged issues that we're talking about. As I said, ActBlue is the primary fundraising platform for Democratic candidates, political action committees, and progressive causes. It processes billions in small dollar contributions. According to a report last year, and it was a joint interim staff report, Fraud on ActBlue, How the Democrats' Top Fundraising Platform Opens the Door for Illegal Election Contributions. Internal documents show that ActBlue staff and executives failed to take the threat of fraud seriously. ActBlue employees regularly demonstrated an unfounded belief that bad actors are not seeking to fraudulently contribute to Democrat campaigns and causes. For example, ActBlue's training guide for new fraud prevention employees instructed them to look for reasons to accept contributions rather than err on the side of flagging a suspicious donation. Altogether, ActBlue's internal documents and communications paint a damning picture. Despite repeated instances of fraudulent donations to Democrat campaigns and causes from domestic and foreign sources, ActBlue is not demonstrating a serious effort to deter fraud on its platform. At best, its conduct displays a profound disrespect for the principle that only Americans should decide American elections. At worst, it may violate the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971, which states that persons who knowingly accept contributions made by one person in the name of another person may face criminal liability. Now, I recall the Obama gang had a problem with this. They had seemingly large numbers of foreign-based donations or material that suggested the donations were foreign, and they didn't really do much to investigate it or, again, set up a wall to make sure that foreign donations weren't improperly made to the campaigns. And so there have been lots of issues about ActBlue, and all we're asking for what the records are about this. What are they finding? Is there anything substantial that they can share with us under the law? And as I keep on saying, they don't even give us serious excuses. They ignore or just refuse to answer with documents, as the law requires, our requests. But we're asking these records under federal law. And every time I say we filed a FOIA lawsuit, that means government officials somewhere are breaking federal law. And unfortunately, FOIA is rarely, you know, I would argue there's potential criminal violations of law related to thwarting FOIA, but no one's ever really pursued them. You know why? Because the Justice Department would probably have to prosecute itself half the time. So this is a big issue. As I say in the release, there are legitimate grave concerns that ActBlue has enabled illegal fundraising. By failing to prevent widespread straw donor schemes and other tactics, it is likely that fraudulent and even foreign source contributions have crept into Democrat campaign coffers. So this is a big deal, big lawsuit. We hear noises about ActBlue, but we want the substance. We want to know what's going on. And if they don't have documents, we know not much is going on and maybe more needs to be done. And this is what Judicial Watch is really excellent at. It's like these issues pop up, and often Republicans raise these issues because they need a story of the week. And they recognize there are millions of Americans who are concerned about them, so they're hoping to get them all enthused for a minute or two, and hopefully they forget about other things Republicans may or may not be doing. And then they drop the ball. Now, what Judicial Watch does is we don't drop the ball. If there's an issue out there that's substantial and worth pursuing, we don't say, well, let's not do it because it happened a week ago, which is what the city does all the time. Oh, that was a week ago. Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. That was last year. We don't want to talk about that anymore. It's, oh, that's old news. We're not going to investigate criminality anymore because it happened before the last election cycle. That's why nothing gets done in this city in terms of accountability. They think if it's not happening today and it's not useful today, they have zero interest in it politically. And when there's zero interest in it politically, the machinery of government doesn't do anything. Congress doesn't do anything. The agencies don't do anything. And that's not Judicial Watch's way. That's why we're persistent. And that's why we end up having to do virtually all the heavy lifting on massive scandals. I mean, you think there's all these news stories about a particular issue and you think, well, there's all these investigations going on. No, 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 no. It's just passing news as far as the swamp is concerned, but not for Judicial Watch because we represent your interest in government accountability and transparency. So ActBlue is on our radar. We've been doing investigations already, but now we have a federal lawsuit about it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.